Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy George Mackay back here in the Straight Talk studios. Both of us together. It is not Zoom. It is a rare Uncle Bobby B appearance here in the studios, and we're here to discuss our favorite promotion, MLW, on the MLW Rewind. Uncle Bobby, say hello.
Hello.
There you go. All right, guys, if you're listening to us on SNMEs, the free feed, and the Patreon feed, welcome. If you're listening to us on any other podcast platform, welcome. And if you're watching us on YouTube and you enjoy our faces, good for you. And welcome. And that's about that. That's all the welcomes that we have to do. And now, shall we get into it?
Yeah, let's dive right in.
Yeah, this one was pretty short and sweet. I'll be honest, about 38-minute runtime without commercials. So with commercials, just probably under an hour, give or take. But our main event for tonight is going to be AKIRA versus Jacob Fatu, as Jacob Fatu gets ready for his road to Fury Road, if you will, against Rickey Shane Page in that Weapons of Mass Destruction match.
Yeah.
Which, again, if we all remember the first one, we all remember the anthrax. We all remember people's faces being melted. Really, pretty much, it was almost like an Indiana Jones reboot.
I gotta just bring it back because the best part
Bring
of
it
that,
back.
the best part of that whole thing was the referee in full hazmat gear.
Yes, that was.
As though he was in some sort of danger. But the wrestlers and the fans, just fuck him. Like, you guys can die.
You can't fault a man for being prepared.
No, they have to top that this year. That's the thing. That is a hard act to top. You got to top anthrax. How do you do that?
Wouldn't it be awesome if they used like a COVID test swab, but in a more violent way?
Oh, I would not want a COVID swab shoved up my nose.
Well, you never know. Ricky's used all kinds of things, and Fatu is no stranger to this match, so there could be a whole bunch of crazy things that happen. That's for sure. But our first match is actually a tag team #1 contender match. That's right. We got the calling. So it is Delirious and Talon, the debuting Talon, versus SST, which is obviously Lance and Juicy, and versus SGC, which is Matt Justice, and the one called Manders. Right off the hop, the calling exited the match because both teams were eyeing the calling as if they were going to gang up on them and have a little bit of a united front on that to get them out to eventually make it 2-on-2 contest.
It took a walk.
They took a walk for a little bit. They cleared their heads, and as the call, or as SGC and SST were exchanging blows, the calling came right back and picked their spot. And I will say this match was entertaining as hell. There was bodies flying everywhere. There was a lot of shows of strength, a lot of great combination and tandem tag team maneuvers. But ultimately, the SGC lands the big win, and they are now officially the #1 contenders to Rickey Shane Page and AKIRA's World Tag Team titles. What do you think about that? I mean, the SST and the calling feud is kind of ending at Fury Road, I would have to say. Whereas SSG and the calling really never stopped. It's been fluid from War Chamber to now when they united with Hammer in that War Chamber match.
I don't know if that feud's ending, to be honest. I feel like
maybe a pin in it anyways. They're pausing it.
Yeah, it's a pin in the feud, definitely. But I think the calling, the presence of the calling and the impact they're having on the rest of the roster is going to continue for some time. Especially as you know, we talked about the debuting Talon.
Mm-hmm.
They've also added Cannonball, aka Jeff Cannonball, to the calling as well. So we'll see a debut from him shortly. On this match though, like you said, a lot of tandem tag team stuff, a lot of intense action, exactly what I expected from all of these guys in the ring. They all worked their own styles. It looked great. It was a fun match, as I expect. SGC always make things entertaining. SST always come ready to rumble, and the calling are completely unpredictable. So it was a trifecta in this match, and it made it a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And of course, the thing to make everyone aware of is that if you haven't watched it, spoilers ahead, SGC actually pinned the calling, which is big. So pinning the calling, sending a message to the calling to AKIRA and Rickey Shane Page saying, boys, don't get comfortable with those tag titles because we're coming for them. And now we get an update on Dummy XO after the vicious, horrendous, brutal, disgusting, behind the back attack from Becca last week. Yeah, that's right. I'm calling it exactly all those things. Becca, a coward, and had to wait till somebody's back was turned to strike, putting Delmy Exo on the shelf for at least a couple weeks. She will be ready to come back. We just don't know when. So therefore, the God Queen will probably not have her presence be known at Fury Road. She'll be missing Fury Road as Becca goes on to try to claim a #1 contender spot for that featherweight title.
Never turn your back on an opponent. It's Like the first
You
Ninja
don't have to
Turtles
lean.
movie.
You don't have to lean so
No, I
close.
want to
You're
make sure
good.
I'm clear into the microphone.
You're-
The first Ninja Turtles movie, Master Tetsu teaches that kid, never lower your eyes to an opponent. Like it's the same principle. That is completely Delmi's fault. Becca was merely capitalizing on an opportunity, as an international pop star would do.
So you're comparing her to, I guess, her philosophies in life to a movie about fictional mutant turtles.
Listen, there's a lot of lessons to be learned from the first Ninja Turtles
There
movie.
absolutely is. And we learned very quickly in the second one that Master Shredder is supposed to be dead. Tetsu now leads. And doesn't really lead.
You know what just tripped me out though? Like, it was a kids movie,
Hmm.
but like right at the end, Shredder falls on the garbage compactor, and Casey Jones just like, oops. And like we all were like, yeah, but like really, we just watched a murder and a kids movie, and nobody was really concerned about it whatsoever. That always struck me a little odd. But I digress.
Yes, let's digress. All right, so there's been a lot of speculation over the graphics that MLW has been showing the last couple of weeks of a satellite in the sky revolving around the Earth and big things coming. And finally, the wait is over and we get the big announcement. And the big announcement is MLW and New Japan will be working together. Now, last week, if you mentioned both of us, I couldn't remember his name, and neither of us clued into the time circuits from the DeLorean, but meaning Kushida, as we were right, Kushida, and I'm sitting there last week.
Two dumbasses, right here.
Absolutely idiots. Kushida is officially coming to MLW, and he'll be facing Tony Deppett at Fury Road. So that's another great match to an already great card that is happening, and I could not be more excited.
Yeah, they're really stepping it up. This second one, I'm stoked for it. We're going to be tuning in on FITE, the FITE Network,
FITE TV,
FITE TV. Excuse me. We're going to be tuning in on FITE TV. Should be a fantastic.
And
show.
Much like we did with Never Say Never, we will be doing our review only minutes after the show. You'll get it. Well, you won't get it minutes after. We're going to record it. Then I got to upload it. So like an hour and 15 minutes after the show, give or take, depending how long we ramble on. All right, next match on the card after all these great announcements and the Delmi XO update. It's a scramble match. You got Willie versus O'Shea, versus Ken Broadway, versus Love Dog, and versus the debuting Nolo Kitano. That's right, Nolo Kitano. He is debuting in MLW, and he had a great look. Came out samurai ready, took off like the half.
Oh, the Ghetto Samurai.
The Ghetto Samurai, Nolo Kitano, yeah. Took off the half like samurai mask, if you will, and pulled out the katana, and he was ready for war. And this match was exactly what you expected and more. It was a scramble, hence the title. And these guys were all over the place. Spots were fantastic. Willie Mack, man, every time I see this guy right now, momentum is squarely in his favor. And he is just lightning quick with those shots. He got a couple open palm fist shots on O'Shea that sent O'Shea staggering. Didn't drop him, but sent him staggering. But Willie Mack's striking ability, I mean, maybe I never noticed it before because he was kind of lost in the shuffle. He's got
lightning hands, man.
He does, but he was kind of lost in the shuffle at Impact, where here he's getting more of a predominant TV spot, and we're seeing him on more of a regular basis. So we're actually being able to appreciate his arsenal a little bit more. I'm not saying that Impact stifled him in any way. They just kind of left him in that mid-card area, and we only ever saw him really mix it up in tag team spots. So, or like scramble matches like this where he wasn't really a factor. But now he's getting these opportunities, and lo and behold, Willie gets the win with an amazing frog splash on Nolo. And it was an incredible match, and I enjoyed it. We got to see, Jesus Christ, how long did O'Shea have Kitano up, or Ken Broadway up, I should say?
He had him up for a while. And Ken Broadway,
15 to 20 seconds.
Ken Broadway's a bit of a thick boy. Like, he's not a cruiserweight. I mean, O'Shea had him up there. There was a few feats of strength we saw in this match from these gentlemen. And special shout out to Love Doug, because I am not a big Kiss fan at all, but there's one song that's an absolute banger, and it's Love Gun. And the fact that he comes out to a variation of Love Gun, I popped for that. It was great.
Absolutely. It was music to my ears. Plus the fact that the person who was singing it had talent, not like another apparent international pop star that will remain nameless.
She has more talent in her pinky finger than you possess in all of this.
I don't think that's a fair assessment. I feel like that's a little hurtful. I mean, I'm going to take it, but at the simple fact, I've never claimed to be a singer. I know my lane and I stay in it. What I am is an analyst, and I do that job very well. And I'm also a great commentator and have a great radio voice. Do I have a face for radio? Absolutely. And I know this. So don't talk to me about not having talent, my friend, because I have it all.
Is this
in
gonna be another
spades.
ice cream situation?
Yeah, let's not get into that. All right, fucker. All right. Anyways, this was a great match. Like I said, what is your thoughts? We talked about, again, I mentioned O'Shea and the power, the feats of strength, and Willie and those lightning reflexes. But all in all, what did you enjoy about this match?
Well, mainly just the fact that it was a lot of nonstop action. All these guys were going at it.
Yeah.
Everybody got their spots in. We had a couple of debuts. Everybody was involved from Bomaye Fight Club. Well, not everybody from Bomaye. I'm saying there was a lot of different people involved here. Really enjoyable match. I love seeing stuff like this. If you're gonna do a 5-way scramble, that's a good way to do it.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Was this not Love Doug's in-ring debut?
Yes, it was. That's
It
what I'm
was his
saying.
in-ring debut.
We had Ghetto Samurai, we had Love Doug. It was pretty badass.
Yeah, because he's really much been following around Becca like a starstruck stalker for the last couple of weeks.
He recognizes talent. Talent recognizes talent. You see?
Right.
See how it works.
And yet I chose you as my co-host. So what does that tell you?
That says you have no talent.
Moving on.
Bomaye.
Yeah. All right. Oh, speaking of Bomaye, guys, I just dropped another conversation with Alex Kane. This one's special, though. This one is really special because it was in person. It was not over Zoom. It was not over Skype. It was not over any of those, devices that we use to communicate internationally. No. This was in person, live at Destiny Wrestling, this past event last weekend. And him and I had a great conversation. And it's up now on the Straight Talk YouTube page. So shameless plug there. Check it all out. And there'll be a big announcement about Straight Talk coming at the end of this podcast, which I cannot be more than excited to announce. But moving on, we get the main event, which is AKIRA and Fatu. AKIRA walks out with his goons and his table full of weapons. The ominous table of weapons, as Joe Dombrowski so elegantly put it. What was the other thing he said that was really cool? It was almost like he was rhyming. It was like something the falling for the calling or whatever.
Oh, the darkness is or the calling when darkness is falling.
Yeah, when darkness is falling. Yeah, it was
falling darkness.
But it was awesome, and it was very cadence of him. It was very rhymey, and he did good. Like Joe Dombrowski could release a mixtape album. It would just be literally one line, and that was it. Yeah, there wouldn't be I shouldn't say mixtape, maybe like a mixed single, if you will. That would be Joe Dombrowski's claim to hip hop fame. But AKIRA, he got a promo on Jacob Fatu in the middle of the ring. No fucks given by AKIRA, man. I think he went a little hard on this one. Not in a bad way, just fantastic. Basically saying that he's got scars all over his body because he's had to scratch and claw for everything he has in pro wrestling. Where Jacob Fatu has had everything handed to him based on who he is and who he was meant to be. Obviously talking about the Samoan lineage. And at that point, Fatu's heard enough. But I'll give AKIRA credit. No fucks given for calling out Fatu, saying, let's just get this started. Fatu comes out and says he's about to, make AKIRA his bitch. He's going to break his bitch ass, quote unquote, was the saying. And right before Fatu could even get in the ring, this was kind of surprising, but security coming out to stop Fatu from getting into a confrontation with AKIRA when they're supposed to have a confrontation.
It's a little weird.
It was a little off timing for me personally. But Fatu fighting them off, and AKIRA picked a spot, jumping from the top rope to the outside with a chair on his knees, which was pretty cool. He almost held it like he was tobogganing right across his knees and got Jacob square in the forehead. They did eventually get into the ring where this was never supposed to be a match. This was never going to be a one-on-one brawl. Jacob did get a near fall, but then the gas mask goons arrived, and it was pretty much Fatu fighting them off until Rickey Shane Page showed up as Fatu was standing tall in the entrance aisleway. Rickey Shane Page running from behind, very much mimicking Becca in a lot of ways, and slamming a barbed wire baseball bat into the back of Jacob Fatu, laying him out to the point where he was laid out even as the cameras went off, causing a lot of concern amongst the fans in the arena that night as to what condition Jacob Fatu will be in as he prepares for that weapons of mass destruction match. But the calling standing tall, Ricky standing tall, and they walk out as Fatu. He didn't move much after he got hit with that baseball bat. I mean, how can you?
No.
How can you?
And as tough as Jacob Fatu is, I mean, in a situation where you're talking about a hardcore or a weapons of mass destruction match, I really got to give the edge to a Rickey Shane Page or an AKIRA, because these guys, again, not to take anything away from Jacob Fatu, he's thrown down plenty of times. But in these specific type of match situations, I think that AKIRA and Rickey Shane Page have more experience, and that could work to their advantage, not to mention the numbers game. So AKIRA, yeah, no fucks given, but also it's easy to give no fucks when you've got the calling backing you up and you know that. It'll be interesting to see if the Samoan SWAT team and Jacob Fatu have actually bitten off more than they can chew here.
It's interesting that you say that. That is a valid point, but I will counteract that point with this one point. I did say it earlier on in the episode. Fatu is the most experienced man in this weapons of mass destruction match, considering he was in the first weapons of mass destruction match where he took on Mads Kruger and he won that match. Now, granted, it's a different opponent, different ballpark, different weapons of mass destruction will probably be in play, but I do think that Fatu knows how to act in this type of environment. I wouldn't sell him short, but you're right. The number games will come up. But now, considering that the SST is not in contention for those tag titles, the SST is available for Fury Road to be backup if needed. Lance came back from that, assault that he suffered a few weeks back. He was in great shape tonight, great form. He looked great. That super kick on Delirious we never even mentioned earlier in the match. He got him square in the jaw.
A lot of the kicks look good tonight.
A lot of the kicks. Everything was solid.
They looked good.
And I mean, Juicy's a guy that if you bring him out to be your backup, it's going to take 3 of those gas mask goons just to try to take him on. Oh. So right there, that is all of the backup from the calling on just one member of SST. So that's going to play into effect too. I would think.
It could go either way.
It could. It absolutely could. That's it for this one, guys. It was short, sweet, simple, to the point. Oh, wait. Hold on. I forgot the major announcement. Straight Talk Wrestling will be joining the SNME family, and I could not be more than happier. Sunday night's main event have graciously allowed, and I will say that, allowed Straight Talk to have a platform to get a little bit more exposure on their amazing network, and I couldn't be more than happier. So you're going to get to hear all Straight Talk interviews and everything going forward on SNME. You'll still get it on the YouTube page and all that kind of stuff. It'll premiere here first always, but the audio exclusives will be only on SNME. I will be posting it on the Straight Talk stuff later on in the week, but SNME will get the first crack at the audio stuff, and I couldn't be more excited. Randy has been fantastic, and we've talked a lot about it. It's gone back and forth in a ton of positive ways, and I couldn't be more than excited to bring Straight Talk over to SNME to get that exposure that Straight Talk definitely does need and deserve, but also to be joining a great list of podcasters. I mean, you can hear Uncle Bobby B not only on the Rewind, but on a whole bunch of other great podcasts that he's on. Randy also does a great show. Boris does the main show. There's a lot of great podcasts. Notorious Tid and Donnie DeSilva, the Godfathers of podcasting, are on there as well. These guys are like the staples of the first people to do like internet-based radio stuff. So
yep,
it's an incredible platform, and I am just honored to be a member and sharing some of the great sharing some space with some of these amazing podcasters.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
I was talking about everybody else.
Yeah, and you know what? SNME has got coverage on just about every promotion. We are international. There is we've got Lyric Swinton in Philadelphia. We've got Steve Swift up in the UK and in Manchester. Poor guy. We were covering everything from New Japan. It's a lot of fun. We've got a Facebook page. You'll be seeing George posting Straight Talk stuff on there too. Come and check out the network. It's been going for a number of years now, and I'm sure I speak for everybody when I say we're happy to have Straight Talk join the family too.
No, I appreciate that. I do appreciate it. So, guys, that's my big announcement. I mean, it definitely doesn't shine a light any brighter on MLW's announcement, which was freaking crazy, because we're going to see the time splitter herself, Kushida, in an MLW ring, which will be fantastic. I mean, that match alone is worth the price of Fury Road. Tony Deppen and Kushida to an already stacked card. I mean, you got Matt Cardona, making his debut at MLW. Or is it his return? Because wasn't he in MLW the first time around?
I think he might have been.
No,
he was still internet guy back then, I think.
Yeah. So he'll be making his MLW debut. Saint Laurent will be unveiling his new show or segment, if you will. Joe and Matt always doing the greatest play-by-play tandem that's out there right now, and I'll put my stamp on that. Those two have so much chemistry; it's ridiculous. And honestly and truly, Fury Road is building up to be even more epic than Never Say Never was. And don't forget the main event, the title fight. Alex Kane putting his heavyweight strap on the line against Willie Mack. And Willie Mack says it's going to be the summer of Mack. It's kind of an oxymoron in a sense, because September 3rd, summer's technically over.
So it's getting there.
Yeah, it's like 30 days left. So I guess there'll be like 2 weeks left. So it could be the summer of Mack when it's all said and done.
It's possible, but I mean, this event is shaping up to be incredible.
You got Ito versus Becca, got Cardona versus Mance. You've got the weapons of mass destruction match that we've talked about. You've got the main event match, and now you've got Deppen and Kushida. And they haven't even added a middleweight title fight yet, which they possibly could. And they haven't even added a tag team title fight. I mean, we know who the number one contenders are. We just don't know if we're going to see that match at Fury Road.
And shout out to, we were streaming the screener onto George's TV in the living room, and subtitles were on, and it's those auto subtitles. And my God, guys, if you've never watched MLW with subtitles on, like the AI subtitles, I guess you call them, you have to, because watching it try to figure out Fatu is just the funniest shit. It was calling him Fatu, Fox 2. It called him Fuck 2 at one point. Like we were.
Yes, it did. It did say that.
It just had a variety. We were in tears.
Actually, if you watch ours with subtitles, when we do say Fatu, Fuck 2 does come up.
Oh, is that right?
It does. When you watch it on YouTube, it
amazing.
It
I'm so happy to be a part of that.
The legacy of Fuck 2. All right, guys. That's it for this one. I don't know. There's no other way to end this episode than that. We are so honored to be part of the legacy that is the AI auto-generated subtitles of Jacob Fatu's name. And from Rob and me, Fuck 2, everybody.
Fuck 2, baby.
Peace, love, and wrestling. We'll see you next week.